sources of energy. We, Today we will cover the pages 128, 29, 130 and 131. I repeat, class 9, subject physics, chapter number 6, work and energy. Topic of today's lecture is 6.7 and the topic name is major sources of energy. Pages covered today 128, 129, 130 and 131. This is the chapter we are doing, work and energy, unit number 6, work and energy. So our topic of today is 6.7, major sources of energy. So this is on page number 128. If you open 9th class textbook 128 page, you will find this six topic 6.7, major sources of energy. The energy we use comes from the sun, wind, and water power, etc. Actually, all the energy we get comes directly or indirectly from the sun. In this paragraph, they have told us the energy we use mainly come from sun, wind, and water power. So, how water power? Mean when we throw the water at some height, it has energy and it runs the turbines. And with the help of the turbines, we can generate the electricity. And the electricity from Turbela and Mangala dams comes through wires to our houses. Similarly, the sun is also the producer of energy, and we use the wind energy to run the turbines. So these are the major sources of energy. Sun, the major source of our all energy is sun. We get the energy directly or indirectly from the sun. Now we consider fossil fuels. Fossil fuel, whenever you read the word fossil fuels, it means coal, oil, and gas. Whenever the combined word for uh, coal, oil, and gas is we use fossil fuel. We mainly say fossil fuels when coal, oil, and gas. Okay, when you see the word fossil fuel, it means coal, oil, and gas. We use fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and gas at our heat our houses and run industry and transport. With the help of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas, we heat our houses and run industries and transport. These because the transport runs on the oil, petrol, or industry. Some industries work on coal, and our houses we use the gases. Okay, they are usually hydrocarbons. What are they? They are actually the hydrocarbon. Hydro means hydrogen, or carbon mean hydrocarbon mean hydrogen or carbon. Compound of hydrogen and compounds of hydrogen and carbon. Compounds of carbon and hydrogen. When they burn, like coal, when we burn the coal, they combine with oxygen from the air. So the oxygen, when we burn the coal, the oxygen from the air combined with coal, what happens? The carbon becomes carbon monoxide. So these gases will produce. Whenever we burn the coal, so this coal burns oxygen present in the air. So they form the gases like carbon dioxide. Hydrogens becomes hydrogen oxide. Water, while energy is released as heat. So whenever we burn the coal or whenever we burn the fossil fuels, they react with the oxygen in the air, so to form different gases like carbon dioxide gas is produced. Hydrogen becomes hydrogen oxide when they react with oxygen, and water becomes while energy is released and a lot of energy is released. So we can find the equation. This equation, when carbon react with I know you know this fossil fuel is hydrocarbon. They are compounds of hydrogen and carbon. That's why when these burns in the air, so carbon when burn with air, so it forms carbon dioxide and a lot of energy is produced. Heat energy is produced. Similarly, when hydrocarbon means hydrogen and carbon react with oxygen, so they form carbon dioxide, water, and heat energy. So whenever carbon react with oxygen, they form carbon dioxide and heat energy. Hydrocarbons when react with oxygen, they form carbon dioxide, water, and heat energy. Fossil fuels took millions of years for the formation. The fossil fuel, when I use the term fossil fuel, it means oil, and gas. So they take because they are underground and they take millions of years, so many years, about millions of years for the formation. So they are not made only few days or for a few couple of years or couple of months. They take millions of years for their formation. Like coal is obtained from the earth, or oil and gas are produced under the ground. So they take millions of years for their formation. So they are known as non-renewable. That's why they are called the non-renewable resources, because they millions of years for the formation. So that's why they are called the non-renewable sources. We have two sources. One is called the renewable sources. We will study it shortly. But I'm talking about now fossil fuels, which are coal, oil, and gas. They takes millions of years for their formation. That's why they are called the non-renewable resources. Non-renewable resources are such resources which takes millions of years for their formation. They are not made within 6 months or 1 year or with a couple of months or a couple of years, but they take millions of years for their formation. That's why they are called. They are hard to build and they are very hard to build. So they take millions of years. That's why they are called non-renewable resources. We are using fossil fuels at a very fast rate needs. We are using these sources, coal, oil, and gas. We use gas in our houses, oil transport works on oils and coal, industry use coal. So we are using these sources very at a fast rate, very fast. So their use is increasing day by day to meet our energy needs. If we continue to use them at a present rate, they will soon be exhausted. What does this mean? If we are because we are using them a lot day by day, if we are increasing the use of fossil fuel, so one day it will come. They will be exhausted. They will be finished out, and they take millions of years for their formation. That's why we should use them wisely. We should use them coal, oil, and gas. They should be used, and they should be used very wisely because they take millions of years for their formations. So they are called the non-renewable resources. Whenever I talk about fossil fuels, you should know the one thing click in your mind that fossil fuels are oil, gas, and coal. So they take millions of years for their formation. That's why they are called the non-renewable energy sources. Once their supply is exhausted, the world would face serious energy crisis. So because they take millions of years for their formations, so if we are using because we are using them very fast rate nowadays, so if we keep on using these resources, so energy would face a world would face serious energy crisis because they take millions of years for their formation. That's why we should use it very wisely. Thus, fossil fuels would not be able to meet our future energy needs. This would cause serious social and economical problems for countries like us. Therefore, you must use them wisely. As I already told you, that we should use them wisely and at the same time develop new energy sources for our future survival. We should not rely upon these sources like gas, oil, and coal, oil, and gas, fossil fuel, or in other words, I use the word fossil fuels. We should also develop new ways for the energy resources because these will take longer time for their formation. So we should use other energy sources for our survival. So moreover, fossil fuels also release harmful. They are very toxic, and they because they gases are produced, carbon monoxide gas produced, which is harmful and pollute our environment. So this is the disadvantage. This is the disadvantage of fossil fuel. Moreover, fossil fuel release harmful waste products. These waste includes carbon monoxide and other harmful gases. When I am talking about carbon monoxide, so they are produced. They are the resultant of the fossil fuel. When we burn the fossil fuel, they react with the oxygen in air and they form the carbon monoxide gas, which can pollute our environment and which is harmful gas. This causes serious health problems when the toxic material produced from the burning of the fossil fuel. They can be serious problem for us like health problem. We could face headache, tension, nausea, allergic reactions, imitation of eyes, irritation of eyes, nose, and throat. So these are the harmful effects which created by fossil fuel. When we burn them in the presence of air, we can face these type of problems: headache, nausea, allergic reaction, tension, irritation of eyes, nose, and throat. We could get the health problem if we use them very quickly. Long exposure of these harmful gases may cause asthma. If it is long, if we keep on using on a daily basis or for a long term, they could cause asthma, lungs cancer, heart diseases, and even damage to our brain, nerves, and other organs of our body. So these are the harmful effects caused by the fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. Now we move towards nuclear fuels. What is actually nuclear fuel? Power plants, nuclear power plants, we get energy as a result of fission reaction. I will explain you what is fission reaction. This is fission reaction. During the fission reaction, heavy atom, big atom, such as uranium, say this is a uranium atom, split up into smaller parts, releasing a large amount of energy. This is called fission reaction. In actually the fission reaction, a large or heavy atom such as if we take the example of uranium. Uranium is takes part in the fission reaction, in which uranium atom, big atom, is split up into smaller parts, and when smaller parts also forms, and the large amount of energy is released. In this case, when a uranium atom is broken down into smaller parts, they broke down into smaller parts and form other atoms, and also a lot of amount of energy is released during this process. This process is called the fission reaction. You should be very clear. In fission reaction, we have a larger molecules, larger atoms. So say this is a uranium atom, and it is broken down into smaller atoms, and it releases a lot of energy. This reaction is called the fission reaction. Nuclear power plants give out a lot of nuclear radiation and vast amount of heat. So these are the drawbacks of nuclear fuels. So if we keep using nuclear fuel, we have the bad effects on our health or our life, or because in nuclear fuels they also release a large amount of nuclear radiation. They release the nuclear radiation which are harmful for our health, and vast amount of energy. Although the energy is produced from the nuclear fuels, but they are bad. They create a bad effect on our health. They generate the radiations which are harmful to our environment. So a part of heat is used to run power plants, while a lot of heat goes waste into the environment. If it is go into the environment, if the nuclear radiation or heat vast amount of heat will go into the environment, add into the environment, it will create a lot of problems for us. Like we discussed the problems created by the fossil fuels. So we have a long term. We have a problem of radiation when they are mixed for heat energy mixed and added into the environment. So nuclear fuels are also dangerous for our health. That's why, although they produce a lot amount of energy, we can get the energy from nuclear fuels. Like we can run the turbines, we can produce electricity with the help of nuclear fuels. But on the other hand, they create a bad effect on our health. So because a large amount of heat is, they excrete a large amount of radiations and vast amount of heat which is added into our environment, and when we take breathe in the it will create a bad effect on our health. So nuclear fuels is also the source of for providing energy, but on the other hand, they have the bad effect on our health. So we talked about till now we talked about in non-renewable resources. Non-renewable resources like fossil fuels are the non-renewable resources. Why they are called the non-renewable resources? Energy resources because they take a lot of time for their formation. They take millions of years for the formation. Whenever I talk about fossil fuels, you must know I'm talking about coal, oil, and gas. When coal is burned, it mixed with the air in the oxygen in the air, so it produces toxic gases like carbon monoxide gas, which has a bad effect on our health. As I have told you, it creates headache, tension, nausea, allergic reactions, and irritation of eyes and nose and throat. This creates a serious health problem. Then we talked about nuclear fuels, nuclear fuel. We talked about fission reaction. In fission reaction, a large number in fission reaction, heavy atoms broken down like uranium broken down into smaller atoms, and they produce a lot amount of energy. But on the other hand, they produce the radiations and a vast amount of heat added into the air. That's why they create a bad effect on our health. Although it produces a large amount of energy, we can obtain the large amount of energy from it, nuclear fuels, but they create a bad effect on our environment. So these sources are called the non-renewable energy sources. So I am talking about non-renewable energy sources. sunlight and water power. This is on page number 129 of, because I'm talking about now renewable energy sources. This is based on page number 129 of your ninth class textbook. Now I'm reading renewable energy sources. Sunlight and water power are the renewable sources of energy. They will not run out like coal, oil, and gas. Right? You should know what is the difference between non-renewable energy sources and renewable energy sources. So non-renewable energy sources like fossil fuels, coal, oil, and gas, these are called non-renewable energy sources. But what are the renewable energy sources? Sunlight and water. They will never exhaust like coal and gas and oil. They are called renewable energy sources, and they do not create bad effect on our health. So energy from water. How can we get the energy from water? The energy produced or the electricity produced from the water is a good source because it does not affect our environment. It does not affect our health. So the energy produced from water is the best source because it does not pollute our environment. So they are called the no renewable energy sources. So renewable energy sources are those sources. Sunlight and water are the renewable energy sources. Energy from water power is cheap. So energy produced from water is cheap. It is not expensive. It is very cheap. So we should produce the energy from it. Dams are being constructed at a suitable location in different parts of the world. Dams serves very many purposes. So in order to produce the electricity from the water, we make the dams. So dams have many uses. We collect the water, rainwater, or we collect the water with the help of the dams. And whenever we want to, so they have a very many purposes. They help to control floods for storing water. If there is a flood comes, so dams can store the water in it. The water stored in dams is used for irrigation. So water stored in the dam we can use for the irrigation, for watering our plants, and also to generate electrical energy without creating much environmental problem. Right. So this is the they have the many advantages. Renewable energy sources have many advantages. First, they do not pollute our environment. So energy. So when we construct the dams to store our water when the flood comes. So dams can store the water. This energy produced from water is cheap. This stored water can be used. So this electricity comes from home, from Tarbela Biram to our homes through wires. So so energy produced from the water is good for health. It is not damaging for damaging. It's not damaged like the fossil fuels, the energy created from fossil fuel, coal, oil, and gas. Then they do not produce a lot of environmental damage. So energy produced from water is a good source. So this is called this is cheap energy also. The energy produced from water is the cheap, is not expensive. Now, energy from the sun, solar energy is the energy coming from the sun and is used directly and indirectly. Sunlight, sunlight does not pollute the environment in any way. So the sun rays are ultimate source of life on Earth. We are dependent on the sun for all our foods and fuels. If we find a suitable method to use a fraction of the solar energy reaching the Earth, then it would be enough to fulfill our energy requirement. So we get so this is the energy. The energy obtained from sun is also the renewable energy sources that will not never exhaust like fossil fuels. So energy from sun will not pollute our environment. So we should find the ways to generate the energy from the sun. So most of our energy coming from the sun. So we use this is the major source of our foods. So with the help of the sunlight, the plants make their food with the help of the photosynthesis. This is just because of the light of the sun or energy produced from the sun. So we are directly or indirectly rely upon the energy from the sun. So, energy obtained from the sun is also will not pollute our environment, and it is good for our health. It will not as damage uh, as we see that fossil fuels, the coal, oil, and gas are more dangerous than this. This one, the sun energy obtained from the sun is not damaging, so it will not pollute our environment. So, we are rely upon the sun energy. So, solar house is heating. What is solar house heating? I explain you. The use of solar energy is not new. However, its use in houses and offices as well as commercial industrial purposes is quite recent. Its complete solar house heating systems are successfully used in areas with a minimum amount of sunshine in winter. Our heating system consists of. So I'm talking about now solar house heating, which is on page number 113. What is solar house heating? House heating. The use of solar energy is not new. The use of solar energy is not new. It is quite, but the use of houses and offices as well as for commercial industrial purposes is quite recent. But if we talk about the use of it in houses, offices, and commercial industry, its use is quite new. But the solar use of solar energy is not new. Okay, but we were currently using solar energy in our houses, commercial offices, and commercial industries. Complete house heating system are successfully used in area with a minimum amount of sunshine in winter. You know the sunshine is minimum in the winter, especially the sunshine is great amount in summer, but in winter sunshine is very minimum. So what we do in winter, we use this type of things to trap the sunlight from sunlight. We can trap the sunlight with the help of this. This is the solar house heating system. What is the solar house heating system consist of? It consists of a collectors, storage device, and distribution system. A collector, a storage device, and distribution system. So we are using the sun energy. We trap the sun energy, and then we use this to heat our houses. To heat our houses, to get the hot water from the tap in the winter, especially because there is a cold in the winter. So by using this, by trapping the sunlight with the help of this, we can the cold water is coming from here, but we use this energy to make it hot, and we use this hot water in our houses to heat our houses, to get the hot water from the tap. So this is very cheap process. This is very cheap energy produced from the sun. So it consists of a collector which collect the sunlight, storage devices, that's energy stored. This energy is trapped by the sun. This energy is trapped by the sun, is stored in the storage devices, and then they distribute this energy to make the water hot, and this hot water will be used in winter. Okay, so figure 6.21. This is a 6.21 figure. A solar house heating system. Show the solar collector uh, made of glass panels. This is made of glass panels. So our blank metal plates. The plates absorb the sun energy. These plates absorb the sun energy, which heats a liquid flowing in the pipes at the back of the collector. So this is the cold water is coming. So when it pass through this one, so it will make it hot, and this hot water we use in daily in winter to warm our houses, or to use the hot water from the tap. So I repeat, figure 6.21, a solar heating system shows a solar collector made of glass panel. This is a solar glass panel. Sun rays trap this will trap the sunlight. The collector will trap the sunlight, and this sun absorb the sun energy, which heats the liquid flowing at the pipes. The cold water is coming. It will heat the cold water, and then make it hot to use in our houses. So we can make, with the help of this, we can make our houses hot, to make our houses warm, and when there is a winter, and we can use this tap water, uh, hot tap water for daily uses. So solar energy is also using solar cookers, solar distillation plants, solar power plants. So this is a solar car. This is working on the with the help of the sunlight. A solar panel fixed at the roof of the houses. This is all the These are the solar panels which absorb the heat energy coming from the sun. So actually, the heat energy from the sun is before this invention. Heat energy from the sun is wasting, but with the help of with the help of solar panel, we are now using this sun energy to warm our houses or to use hot water in winter. So what they do, a solar panel fixed at the roof. They fix the solar panel on the roof of the house to store the sunlight, and this sunlight uh, make our houses warm, and we use the hot water for our daily use. So this is the solar car, which is based on the which is working on the sunlight, principle of sunlight. Now I'm talking about solar cells. Solar energy can also be converted directly into electricity by solar cells. Solar cells also called photo cells is made from silicon wafer. When sunlight falls on a solar cell, it converts the light energy into electrical energy. What is the function of the solar cells? Actually, the solar cells, whenever the sunlight falls on the solar cells, they convert the light energy. Because the sun has the light energy, this light energy is converted into the electrical energy. These solar cells, what they do, when the light falls onto it, they convert the light energy into the electrical energy. Solar cells are used in calculators. We use these solar cells in calculators, watches, and toys. So some calculators work on the sunlight. So if you take the calculator on the sunlight, the solar cells are used. Solar cells get the light and then convert this into electrical energy. So our calculators and watches and wires are working on the solar cell. Large number of solar cells are wired together to form solar panels. So I told you to we installed the solar panels on our house roof because these solar cells are combined together, are attached with each other to form the solar panels, which we use on the roof of our houses. Solar panels can provide power to the telephone booths, lighthouses, and scientific research centers. Solar panels are also used to power satellites. So these solar panels are used to power the satellites, and we can you can see that some traffic lights are working on the solar panels. If you go to the roads, you will find the solar panels are installed near the traffic lights. They trap the sunlight, and then the signals road signals works on the solar panel. So there are many uses of the solar panels. Basically, solar panels are formed on the solar cells. Solar cells are used in calculators, watches, and wires. But whenever the solar cells are combined together, they form the solar panel. And you know the solar panels are used in houses for the light purposes, for the lighting purposes, or some road signals. They are used to provide the electricity for the road signals. Some road signals works on this solar panel. Several other methods to trap sun rays are underway. If scientists could find an efficient and inexpensive method to use solar energy, then the people would get clean, limitless energy as long as the sun continues to shine. So actually, sun energy is a renewable energy sources. So the energy produced from it is inexpensive. It is not very much expensive like the energy produced from the water. So in future, hopefully the scientists are working on it to produce the cheap way for the providing of the electricity. So this is our end of the chapter. Not the end of the chapter. It is we have we have covered 6.7. So we will continue 6.7 in our next lecture, but we have covered till 131 page solar cells. So in the next chapter, in the next lecture, we will discuss about wind energy, geothermal energy from biomass, and we will try to understand next. Continue this 6.7 continue will be continuing in the next lecture. So we studied actually half of 6.7 topic, which is the major sources of energy. So I repeat what we did today. We did major sources of energy. In major sources of energy, we studied about fossil fuels. I told you fossil fuels, about coal, oil, and gas are the fossil fuels, but they have harmful effect on our environment because whenever the coals are burnt in the presence of the oxygen, they produce the harmful gases like carbon monoxides and gases, so which pollute our environment. So fossil fuels are called the non-renewable energy sources because they take millions of years for their formation. Next, we studied the nuclear fuels. Nuclear fuels are not good for our environment, so they produce the radiations and create the harmful effect for our environment. In this nuclear fuels, uranium when a uranium atom is broken down into the smaller atoms, it produces a lot of energy, but on the other hand, it pollutes our environment. So then I will talk about the renewable energy sources. So sunlight and water are the renewable energy sources, and they are good for environment. They are not as bad as our fossil fuels. So energy produced from water is very cheap, and it will not pollute our environment. So energy from the sun, we also discussed about energy from the sun. We are trapping the energy from the sun, and this trap energy is used to make our water hot. And this hot water we use in winter, and we can also warm our houses with by trapping the sun energy. So sun energy is the cheap way, which is also the renewable energy sources. So we discussed about solar house heating. So it consists of the collector, storage device, and distribution. I already told you we collect we trap the sunlight with the help of the collector. Then this trapped sunlight will make the water cold water in hot water, and we use this hot water in winter. So with the distribution system, we use this in winter. Then we talked about solar cells. Solar cells are using Gaussian wires, and when these solar cells are wired up, they form the solar panels. We use solar panel on our houses to use the sun energy, and we also light up the booths with the help of solar panel. These solar panels are used to provide the electricity for the road signals. So this car is working on the solar panel, and this solar panel is fixed at the roof to provide the to make our house warm or to get the hot water in winter. So this is the use of the sun energy. So this is kind of the topic for today's lecture. So I hope you guys may understand. If you have any question regarding this, please let me know. Thank you. Yes. Any question? Please raise your hand, unmute your mic, and ask question. This is your homework. Please memorize topic by heart and write once on a rough register. If you have any question regarding today's topic, please let me know. Okay, thank you. Please submit your copies for checking by Monday. Thank you.